This is Contractor Sense with Ruth King.
Welcome to Contractor Sense. Here you discover ideas, tactics, news, and information that matters to your contracting business and you. I'm your host, Ruth King. This episode is sponsored by Financially Fit Business. Go to financiallyfit.business to analyze your monthly financial statements, grow your business profitably, build wealth in less than 10 minutes a month. Thank you for joining us. Here is how we will help your business and you today. Do your commercial customers hold you hostage? What do I mean? Well, when you send out an invoice with net 30 terms, they ignore the terms and pay you when they want to, sometimes 60 days or more later. My guest today, Lara Hodgson, founder of Now Accounts, gives you the tool you can use to avoid this situation and get paid quickly. Lara, welcome to Contractor Sense.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Now, in full disclosure to everybody who's listening, I've known Lara since she started Now Accounts, right, which was many years ago. And I remember you writing $1 million on the board.
That's
so why
right.
don't you explain what Now Accounts are?
Yeah, it's interesting because when we met all those years ago, I was sort of freshly experiencing the challenge that you just laid out for everyone, which is, you start a business, you develop a great product or service, you're excited to get more and larger customers because that's the whole reason you build a business, right? Is to have customers. And, those customers, as your orders get larger and larger, they tend to take longer and longer to pay. And I still remember the first time I experienced that challenge, sort of rubbing the temples on my head and thinking, my gosh, I must have negotiated poorly. Why didn't I learn this in business school? I thought that when I deliver my product, I get paid. And it was like a rude awakening to realize that when you deliver goods and services to other businesses and governments, they don't hand you a credit card. They don't pay you upon receipt. Instead, you send an invoice and you just wait and wait and wait. And not only do people pay invoices late, which is normal, right? A normal net 30 invoice on average will pay in 54 days. But when you really step back and question it, it's like, why should you even wait 30 days? Why is net 30 even the standard? Because there might have been a time when it was hard to move money quickly, but I can wave my phone and move money at you. So what we realized is every small business in the US economy that serves businesses and government customers is always waiting to get paid. And unfortunately, everyone tells those businesses they should go get a line of credit or try factoring. But at the end of the day, why should they have to borrow money when they're the free bank to their customers? And so we really stepped back and said, there's got to be a better way to solve this than asking small businesses to borrow money and take on debt. Why not build a payment system that feels like taking a credit card? Because when a retailer takes a credit card, they get paid immediately. They didn't borrow money. They didn't factor. They didn't do any of that financy stuff. They just get paid immediately by taking the credit card, and they pay a merchant fee for that service. And so that's what Now Account is. We've created the first ever payment system that if you're a small business selling to other businesses and governments, and they won't pay you up front with a credit card, and they want an invoice with net something terms, you can just put it on your Now Account. You get paid immediately the full amount of the invoice minus a one-time 3.5% merchant fee. And it feels exactly like taking a credit card. You get your revenue as cash immediately. You have a 3.5% expense. When and if the customer pays is not your risk. You have no debt or liability on your balance sheet, and nothing changes for your customer. So everyone gets what they want. You get paid immediately, so your cash finally flows. Your customer gets the invoice and pays whenever and however they always have. No change.
Right. The interesting thing that you probably should look at, that you kind of glossed over, is that big businesses expect small businesses to be their bank.
That's right. It's right. And it's ironic. The businesses who could pay immediately are the ones that take the longest to pay because they have way more power in the relationship. If you were to say to your, Fortune 500 customer, if you don't pay me on time, I'm not going to deliver goods or services for you anymore, they would say, well, don't let the door hit you on the butt on the way out. There's 50 other people waiting for your spot as my supplier. And so you really have no negotiating power. And the other thing is these large companies have CFOs that know that they can delay payments 10, 20, 30, 60 days, and it doesn't cost them anything. They don't pay interest on that money. And so it's their cheapest source of capital. And it's unfortunately become an accepted part of commerce.
Yeah, and the thing is they can actually keep their cash in the bank and get interest on it.
That's right. In fact, they can keep your
us.
cash in the bank. They can keep your cash in the bank and get interest on it.
Absolutely. So when you and I had talked a while ago, there was some definite advantages of Now Accounts, because I remember a story, and I don't know whether this is still the case or not, where somebody was providing services to like a QT or something along those lines. And the fact that she could offer them terms that nobody else did made her get the work. Is that still the case?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, our clients are some of the most creative people, because they realize that if you have a Now account, it's almost like your secret weapon for sales. Because if your salesperson can go after a purchase order or an RFP and know that they're going to get paid in 2 days, you can offer net 30 or you can offer net 60 or net 90. But in doing so, you can negotiate a bigger order or a better pricing. Like, I'll give you net 60, but I want better pricing, or I'll give you net 90, but I want a larger order. And the beautiful thing about that is if you tell a customer you'll offer them net 60 or net 90, what they're thinking is, wow, you're financially strong enough to do that. Now, you, of course, know the secret, which is you're getting paid in 2 days anyway on your Now account. They don't know that. Right. And so it really allows you to posture differently and compete with larger businesses that always undercut small businesses by offering extended terms, because they can.
Yeah, and it's really, and you're right, we accept it. We absolutely do accept it. And this is, I still, after all these years, I've watched you grow and grow and grow this. I've never seen anybody who was coming out as one of your competitors, which I think is cool.
Right. Well, and, I think the reason people ask me that all the time, like, you're not a banker. How did you come up with this? Why haven't these other sort of banks and fintechs kind of done what you're doing? And I think part of the challenge is the world of financial services is populated by all of these sort of financial experts that have, quite frankly, never sat in the shoes of a small business owner.
Yeah.
And so I think all innovation comes from the demand side of a problem, not the supply side. And bankers, they're almost too smart. They can't think outside the loan.
Yeah, they're in their tunnels, and anything that's outside their tunnel, I don't want to say afraid of, but they're very leery of doing anything that's not conventional.
Right.
So before we take a break, if somebody's interested in a Now account, where do they go?
So you can find us online at nowaccount.com. And when you go to the website, right at the top, it says, see if you qualify. It takes about 2 minutes to tell us, your business name, your business address, where the business is located, when the business was formed. And that's all we collect to tell you whether you qualify or not. So you don't have to, pay an upfront fee. You don't have to share personal information. We don't look at personal credit. It's really very easy to see if your business qualifies. And then from there, one of our advisors will kind of help you think about the best way to use it for your business.
Very good. Thanks for thanks for listening to Contractor Sense. We'll be right back.
Are you one of the contractors who enjoys getting and analyzing your financial statements each month? If not, it's probably because you haven't taken the time to discover what your profit and loss statement and balance sheet are telling you. And you probably are not making good business decisions based on timely, accurate financial statements. You know you have to do something about this, but where do you turn? Ruth King's Makes Your Financial Statements Fun and Sexy online course. These easy to understand 4 sessions explain financial statements in English rather than accounting babble. You'll discover what your financial statements mean and how to analyze them each month. Then you'll have the info you need to spot minor issues and take care of them before they become major crises and run you out of cash. Enroll today. Click on the link in the show notes or call us at 770-729-0258.
We're back. Thanks for listening to Contractor Sense. I'm speaking with Lara Hodgson, who is the founder, CEO of Now Accounts, which is basically a credit card for business. And that's probably not, totally what you do, but think about it. You get paid in 2 days, just like a retailer would. So, Lara, before the break, we gave the overview of what it is. So let's kind of dive in a little bit. So somebody goes to the website and they click on see whether your business qualifies, and their business qualifies. So what should they expect? I mean, does their customer know that they are going to be paying you rather than the customer? I mean, how does that work?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And the beautiful thing is they're not actually changing the payment to us. They're still paying their supplier, but they're remitting the payment to a lockbox or an account that we control. So let's say you apply, you qualify, you get the merchant services agreement electronically, which you can just DocuSign right there in the interface. And the contract you're signing with us is the same thing you would sign if you accept credit cards. So it's called a merchant services agreement. Remember, you're not borrowing money, you're not factoring or anything like that. Once you sign that agreement, we get you a login to our portal, our app. And in that app, the first thing you can do is you can actually put in the names and addresses and amounts of customers that you think you might want to use your Now account with. You don't have to use it with all of your customers. So if you have a customer that pays you with a credit card, you should take it. Or if you have a customer that religiously pays in 5 or 10 days, fantastic. So you can just pick and choose. Some of our clients put all their customers on Now account and some do it with 1 or 2. If you happen to use QuickBooks Online as your accounting system, you can actually sync your Now account and your QuickBooks. There's a Now account app in the QuickBooks App Store. And if you use QuickBooks, it's even easier. When you generate an invoice in QuickBooks and you've tagged that customer to Now account, every 10 minutes, the invoices are sent over to our system. We ACH the funds and we book your journal entries. So it's super, super easy. But if you don't have QuickBooks, then you would just log into your app. You can do it on a mobile or on a computer. You would upload, tell us who the customers are. Those get pre-approved. We approve 90+% of the customers that you put in. If for some reason we decline a customer, you can still do business with that customer, but you now have very valuable information you didn't have before, which is there's a good chance that customer is not going to pay you. So I would highly recommend an upfront deposit or a credit card. You put your customers in once they're pre-approved, which is typically instantaneous. When you deliver your good or service and you get ready to invoice the customer, you simply upload a copy of the invoice into your Now account app. From the time that you upload the invoice and we confirm that all of the information is correct with you, you typically get paid within 2.2 days. And that's our average right now. I mean, it's always under 3. We're usually right around 2. So you put the invoice in, we obviously just confirm that information with you to make sure that the remittance address is correct, or make sure that the terms are correct, the amount's correct. We also have ways of verifying that with the customer through their portals, so that we can make sure that the invoice is valid. And then you get your full amount of the invoice paid by next day ACH, minus that 3.5% fee. And at that point, you've received your revenue, your invoice is closed, you continue to grow your business. Your customer's going to pay probably 50, 60 days later. When they get ready to pay, they still make the check or the ACH or wire out to your business. But the remittance address or account is a lockbox or an account that we control. So your customer is still paying you. They're just paying it to a lockbox, and we can deposit that amount because we paid you 60 days ago.
Got it. Now, how does the customer know that it's the person who did the work with them? Because I'm hearing so many things now that say, okay, the remittance address has changed, and it's somebody in Ukraine. Who's stealing your money?
Yeah, and that's actually, it's such a great question because it's a benefit to using Now Account that we didn't even intend to have. One of the benefits to using Now Account is when you decide to put a customer on Now Account, we send a form that changes the remittance address for that customer to our lockbox. All of your invoices with that customer can come through the lockbox, and you tell us invoice by invoice if you want us to accelerate it or not and charge the 3.5% fee. If you don't want us to, that's fine. The payments can still come through our lockbox into your account. The beautiful thing is the form that we use that notifies that company of your new lockbox is legally mandates that they pay that account. If for whatever reason they pay the wrong account, let's say a fraudster gets in and tries to change remittance address and they pay that fraudulent account, they actually still owe you the money. They have to pay again. And these large companies know that, so they are incredibly careful. So having this sort of lockbox actually protects you from those types of fraud.
Yeah, because it's becoming rampant, unfortunately.
It is becoming, I mean, it's so interesting because I think 5-10 years ago, most of us in the world of small business assumed that the main targets for cyber fraud and hackers were these large companies getting hacked. But the vast majority of money that is getting stolen is not these large sort of credit breaches. It's actually, small businesses' emails being compromised. And it's amazing what information you send by email, right? Here's my invoice. Here's my account number, which is seemingly benign because quite frankly, my whole life, I grew up in a world where people wrote paper checks and handed them around and they have your bank and they all have your bank number on the bottom of it. But with that information in a B2B environment, a fraudster can come in and tell your customer that your bank account's changed. And a lot of these customers were just changing it. And, if you have a Now Account, because of the notification that we send them, they are on notice that if they ever pay the wrong account, they are liable to have to pay you again.
Good. Yeah, I mean, I had that happen recently to one of my clients. It looked legit, and then they're at 50 grand.
Well, and it's not even, the interesting thing is, it's not even a high-tech cyber breach. They're actually preying on human behavior, not on technology systems. So you can have all the Barracuda filters you want. What they're really preying on is the fact that you click on what seems to be a legitimate email. Yeah. And once you do that, they'll just sit patiently in your email for months, watching what's going on until they have enough information to, get a customer to change their behavior.
Yeah, which is not fun. But anyway, all right, give us the website address again, please.
Sure. It's www.nowaccount.com.
Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. I think small businesses are the engine of this economy. And unfortunately, this engine has no fuel. And we just try to keep giving them large company solutions miniaturized for small businesses. I think if we can stop telling small businesses to borrow money and instead allow them to stop being a free bank to their customer, then the small business economy can thrive.
Very good. Lara, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.
And thanks to all of you for joining us. Choose one thing you discovered and implement it in your business. These ideas, tactics, and strategies help you make more money, have more free time, and give back. If you like today's program, spread the word. Please review this podcast on any device you're listening to it on. Help a fellow contractor make more money too. For comments or questions, call me at 770-729-0258 or email ruthking@hvacchannel.tv. Thanks for listening. Have a great and profitable day.